Neelaspatika Vaidurya Mukta Marani Klipta Harmaya Sthalim Diptam Shriya Bhogavatim The floors of that house, or the floors of the houses in that city, were made of sapphire, crystal, diamonds, pearls, emeralds, and rubies. Because of the luster of the houses in the capital, the city was compared to the celestial town named Bhogavati. Oh, in the city of the body, the heart is considered to be the capital. Just as the capital of a state is especially gorgeously filled with various high buildings and lustrous places, the heart of the body is filled with various desires and plans for material enjoyment. Such plans are sometimes compared to valuable jewels, such as sapphires, rubies, pearls, and emeralds. The heart becomes the center of planning for material enjoyment. So now, at this point, the story is taking a turn. The turn is what? The turn is the interesting turn of events here is that the living entity, the Puranjana, although he is getting spiritual facilities, is getting material facilities, but he is getting attached to material facilities. He is forgetting the spiritual facilities. Although those facilities are there, he is not making use of that, and then he is getting captivated by material facilities. Therefore, the descriptions are taking a material turn now. So Prabhupada is describing here that these sapphires and crystals and so on, and the rubies and so on, they're like the material plan making desires actually. So therefore this city becomes Bhogavati. The entire city becomes Bhogavati. Now, the person has got, see, the point is, the previous point what we were making is that you see material facilities without spiritual facilities disintegrate very badly and shabbily, very miserably. When spiritual facilities are there, the material facilities can remain, can last. Otherwise, they disintegrate very shabbily. Now, if one doesn't take advantage of spiritual facilities, he again lands up into a shabby predicament, which is what is going to happen to Puranjana. So, although the body has spiritual facilities, but Puranjana is not going to make use of that. Rather, he is going to use the material body or his capital as Bhogavati to fulfill all kinds of insatiable material desires, and therefore he is going to land up into a very miserable predicament. That's what is going to happen to Puranjana. So now he is materially intoxicated. Yeah, this can happen to a sadhaka also. So, like Krishna consciousness very easily can put one mode of goodness, but one can use that mode of goodness to further his greed and lust, because he gets a better and he gets a more peaceful head. So one can use it to fuel his lust and greed. One can get lost in the balam rice. So that can happen to a sadhaka also. So although the spiritual facilities come along with material facilities, but if one zooms on material facilities, he'll cut a very sorry figure. So Puranjana is going to cut a sorry figure now, because his only his consciousness is reflected by the name of the city. The name of the city has got the name now Bhogavati. So he just wants to do sense gratification. Yes, so wherever Bhoga mentality will come, we'll have to cut a very sorry future and a very sorry figure. Sabha chatvara ratyabhir akre dayatana pane chete dhwaja patakabhir yuktam vidruma vedibhi. In that city, there were many assembly houses, street crossings, streets, restaurants, gambling houses, markets, resting places, flags, festoons, beautiful parks. All these surrounded the city. So in this way, the capital is described. In the capital, there are assembly houses and many squares, many street crossings, avenues and streets, many gambling places, markets, places of rest, all decorated with flags and festoons. The squares are surrounded with railings and are devoid of trees. The heart of the body can be compared to the assembly house. For the living entity is within the heart along with Paramatma. And thus the heart is the center of all remembrance, forgetfulness, and deliberation. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Sarvasya chaham nidhi sannivishto mata smitir jnanam apohanam cha. In the body, the eyes, ears, and nose are different places of attraction for sense enjoyment. And the streets for going hither and thither may be compared to different types of air blowing within the body. The yogic process of controlling the air within the body and the different nerves is called susumna, the path of liberation. The body is also a resting place because when the living entity becomes fatigued, then it takes rest within the body. The palms and the soles of the feet are compared to flags and festoons. Yeah, people decorate the palms, no? Sometimes. Flags and festoons they are compared to. It is interesting to note here that it is not exactly and always, that everything we are getting on the first note. Actually, the Puranjana is building the place. Is building the place. So many times what we get is not so important. That what we build is what we build it takes overpowers. Actually, that's the point. So these kind of gambling houses and restaurants, these are not provided by Providence. This is artificially created. That's why, if you see in the previous verse also, the floor design, the floor material, the rubies and all that, Prabhupada is comparing that to material desires. So the point is, Prabhupada is comparing that to material desires. So it is what one, so what one builds there, is it not? So just like sometimes, okay, one may get a natural land to stay, but will he keep it natural? That depends on the person. He may cut off all the trees, no? He may make a concrete jungle there, is it not? So one may get natural settings, but one has the steering. of what one is going to build. So what one gets is not something very important, but what one builds there is something very important, is it not? Like people take a land outside the city, very natural land, but they build a poultry farm there, very nasty, is it not? So it doesn't depend upon what one gets. That's not, no, that becomes overshadowed of what one builds. So here Puranjana has started building all nasty things. That's why it's being said, oh, there's a gambling center, oh, there is this, there is that. So now Prabhupada mention of the airs. The airs are compared, the airs in the body, they are compared to streets. Yeah. So now the point is, now so you see, by desires the airs are controlled. There is a yogic process of engineering to control the airs also artificially, but by the natural unconscious mechanism, the airs actually get controlled by the kind of thought process and the desires one has. मतलब ये है कि the airs of the body are like streets, and the bodily activities follow the airs, the dictates of the airs, but the setting of the airs is programmed by one's material desires, but by one's desires. So see one no so so if one desires spiritual emancipation, then the airs get controlled accordingly. That's the point. There are 10 types of airs in the body. Yeah, there are 10 types of airs in this body. Yeah, physical airs, physical to subtle. It ranges from physical to subtle. From air to subtle, the difference is not much. From earth to subtle, the difference is too much. From air to mind, the difference is not much. Yeah, because air, the next element is sound, and sound and mind are on the same level, almost. So they have the same level in subtlety. So airs is not much far actually. That's why airs can actually control the mind also. So there is by breathing process, yama niyama pranayama, by that one can control the airs. Possible. Artificial controlling of the airs, by that one can actually control the mind. By that one can actually see that he is different from the body. He's a spirit, one can see a spirit soul different from the body. By that one can resist all material desires. Because the flow of material desire is also like flow of airs, the push of the airs. Just like the pressure of evacuation, the pleasure of sense gratification is similar. One is forced towards sinful activity. One is forced to go for evacuation. So that force, that pressure, that pressure is the airs actually are working. And these airs, their setting is primarily tuned by one's proclivity. So that's the point. Proclivity can be changed by the spiritual process of yoga. By any process of yoga. So philosophy changes proclivity. So Ashtanga yoga works on airs. The yogis work on airs because they want to get powers. They don't go further to get spiritual understanding, but they keep hovering on powers. But that can be done. Material desires can be controlled by airs. That is the point. Yes, yes, yes. But what we are trying to understand is that these airs is like streets. So these vritti streets, they are all similar areas. It's just a difference of impact factor. The vrittis are also like airs. The vritti means what? Vritti means streets. So again, vritti is also streets. So Chaitanya will always flow wherever vrittis are there. So that's like subtle air. And evacuation is like gross air. That's the point. The drive for evacuation is gross air. That is subtle air. So but both are airs. That's the point. Yes, yes. Puriyastu Bahayopavane Divyadruma Latakule Nadad Vihangali Kula Kolahala Jalashaye. On the outskirts of the city, there were many beautiful trees and creepers, encircling a nice lake, and surrounding that lake were many groups of birds and bees that were always chanting and humming. Since the body is a great city, there must be various arrangements such as lakes and gardens for sense enjoyment. Of the of the various parts of the body, those which incite the sexual impulse are referred to here indirectly. Because the body has genitals, when the living entity attains the right age, be he man or woman, he becomes agitated by the sex impulse. So as long as one remains a child, he is not agitated by seeing a beautiful woman. Although the sense organs are present, unless the age is ripe, there is no sex impulse. The favorable conditions surrounding the sex impulse are compared here to a garden or a nice solitary park. When one sees opposite sex, naturally the sex impulse increases. It is said that if a man in a solitary place does not become agitated upon seeing a woman, he is to be considered a brahmachari. But this practice is almost impossible. The sex impulse is so strong that even by seeing, touching, or talking, coming into contact with, or even thinking of the opposite sex, even in so many subtle ways, one becomes sexually impelled. Consequently, a brahmachari or sannyasi is prohibited to associate with women, especially in a secret place. The Shastras enjoin that one should not even talk to a woman in a secret place, or not even talk to a woman in a secret place, even if she happens to be one's own daughter, one's own sister, one's own mother. The sex impulse is so strong that even if one is very learned, he becomes agitated in such circumstances. So, if this is the case, how can a young man in a nice park remain calm and quiet after seeing a beautiful young woman? Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada explains that this gardens and lakes refers to parts of the body which are more tuned towards excitement or increase of the sexual impulse. That is the point. So that's like rosy kind of that's the sex attraction, and therefore, you see that the whole atmosphere scene which is being described is that of a solitary place, a nice garden, a nice park, and all that. And Prabhupada is explaining that how this uh, so this type of an atmosphere is very dangerous. So Prabhupada explains how can a young man in a calm and quiet place not be attracted to a young woman if he sees in such a solitary place. Therefore, the injunction is that one should never secretly in a solitary place talk to women. So just by talking, just by thinking, just by seeing, one gets agitated. So uh, so one has to cut down on each of these. One has to cut down on each of these. How do you cut down thinking? It's impossible to stop thinking. How do you stop thinking? You have to first stop seeing. Is it not? Therefore, Radhanath Maharaj describes honest avoidance of opposite sex. What is needed? Honest avoidance of opposite sex. honest avoidance. Because seeing, talking, then we cannot help thinking. When one gets when one gets that no, the madness increases. So one has to stop seeing. Uh, uh, One has to stop seeing. One has to stop talking. What to say of any further things. Then slowly, one will come to the point that one will not be thinking. So we have to be very careful in this regard. Otherwise, this is a very great trap. Anji? Okay, workplace is very open. Mm-hmm. Okay, so question is um, um, uh, uh, okay, in medical profession, dealings with opposite sex are more. That is the question. Yeah, a medical profession, like there is direct contact with other profession, and even in any, like even in devotee communities, we have some interaction. No, so the point is that first of all, dealings between men and women have to be very grave. There is no question of frivolousness in man woman dealings. Actually, wherever frivolousness is coming, we have to understand the disease, the germ is sprouting very badly. So the first thing is that there has to be grave dealings, to the point, blank cut plate, grave dealings, like that. That is how it should be. Second, uh, second, dealings have to be to the very basic minimum, and if it is not required, then no need. It's very simple. So it's very simple. So if one is in an office place, okay, one may be an employee. In his team there may be say there's a 40 people team, there are some 10-15 Matajis are there, okay, but one may be there in that team for 10 years or 20 years. One should not know details about that Mataji. That is called as honesty, is it not? I mean, what business do we have? One should not know details about that lady, is it not? Just to the point, basic minimum. Now, even if it is the case that okay, somebody is becoming favorable for Krishna consciousness, okay, then also hand over to some Mataji's. Mataji should be handed over to Mataji to take care. Very simple. Very simple. So we should not have much business. That's the point. And similarly, men should be handed over to men to take care, spiritually in preaching. So the more we crisscross, the more we invite troubles and problems for us. That's the point. Because this drive is very strong, so we have to be careful. I mean, if it is not required, it's finished, is it not? I mean, where is the need to unnecessarily interact? That's the point. We may say, okay, our interaction not a problem. The more the interaction, the more polluted it is going to be. That's the point. The more polluted and contaminated it is going to be. The more the interaction, both people's mind are going to be more contaminated. The more there will be interaction, the more there will be contamination. So we have to understand that I have no business with the opposite sex. Finish. Because this is a great trap. This is a great trap. Uh, this is a great trap actually. So one has to be careful. The more we dilute, the more there are going to be accidents, the more there are going to be contaminations. We cannot change the law. The problem is we think we are exceptions. That's the problem. We cannot change the law. The law has to work. Like, okay, we do congregation preaching. That is fine. Brahmacharis also do, sannyasis also do, grihasthas can also do. But a congregation preacher is not supposed to talk to Matajis. Very simple. No follow-up. No follow-up. No? So if he's a grihastha, his wife should do follow-up of Matajis. Or if he's a brahmachari sannyasi, he should engage some senior Mataji to do follow-up of Matajis. One may say, no, I am just taking care of them so that they can take Krishna consciousness. No, okay, better they not take Krishna consciousness. That's okay, At least you remain Krishna conscious first. That's the point, actually. So, so that is the point. We have to follow the principles, actually. It is very unfortunate. Very easily, the principles are broken. And that's why the problem is existing. Yes.
What is the difference between dealing with other woman and one's wife? Is it same?
Okay, what is the difference between dealing with other women and dealing with one's wife? What is the difference between dealing with other women and dealing with one's own wife? Yeah, so you see, the fundamental principles remain the same. The fundamental principles will not differ. You have to see the other person not as a woman, no, not as an object of sense gratification, not as a sex machine. So if you see that, it does fall down. There only the story will finish. If one the fundamental principles are the same, one has to consider, okay, that okay, my wife is a part and parcel of Krishna. It's not my property; it's Krishna's property. She's not servant; I am servant. So one has to think. So fundamental principles remain the same. So the only difference is that now with one's wife one can talk that way. So so husband and wife, they are allowed to do service together, so they can do service together, like that. So but then why is this allowance given? Men should be sent to the Himalayas, the women should be sent to Kerala. That's how they should practice. I mean, the scripture should have given these kind of instructions. Okay, all men go towards the north, all women go towards the south. So women will stay in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and men will stay in Himachal Pradesh and Himalayas. And Madhya Pradesh should be no man's land. Only animals. Like that. So ideally, Shastra should have given that kind of injunction. Like that. So so then all kinds of scams will happen in Madhya Pradesh. So that is where all scams will happen in Madhya Pradesh, you know. So why? Because that way. Yeah. So ideally Shastra should have done that. But the point is that, now so the Shastra is saying, okay, so what is it? Man is what is the problem? Actually, even if you do that, there's no problem. One can still go back to God. In fact, problems will be less. But if you do this kind of division, then problems will be less actually, because so so now what is the problem? The main problem is not allotment. The problem is with the living entity. Now man is infatuated about the woman. Man thinks, oh, woman, woman, he thinks that, okay, woman is something, and woman is infatuated about man. So man thinks, okay, when woman comes in my life will be complete, like that. And woman is thinking, okay, when a man comes in my life, that fellow will be a aval number ka ghochu, akal na shakal, all of us are like that, like that. But the woman is thinking, oh, I have got a man in my life, my life is perfect now, everything and this and that, so it's all illusion, but both the fellows, they are infatuated, to the utmost degree, both the fellows are infatuated to the utmost degree. Now the point is, so therefore, the Shastra is saying, okay, infatuated fellows, you're not listening only, you're dreaming, yes. So then the Shastra is telling, okay, you are allowed a sample test, sample testing. So then a sample testing is allowed. Then the Shastra is saying, okay, go near one woman, properly, but once you go near, don't step out. That's what the Shastra is saying, saying, okay, you can choose to go near one woman, sample testing, but once you go near, don't go back, take it up. Enjoy. The same is true for a woman. No, the point is, yeah. So now one signs the agreement, then he gets the license. One signs the agreement, he says, okay, I'll go near, I will not, I'll not go here and there, I'll go near, I'll be with that woman, and together we'll drive, like that. So that license he gives. When he signs that contract, then everybody gives blessings, the society, the culture, the Shastras, the Lord, everybody gives blessings. Okay, go ahead, So then now when man, woman are near, then they're all infatuation and all that, in a regulated way, with the when the purpose and the consciousness is proper, then all that infatuation will get exposed. Because one will understand, what is the completeness, life is the same still, so one understand that, okay, the material body, what is the infatuation? The body, the same body, the body has problem, my body problem, that body problem, that body, our same, all problem, is it not? And two bodies produce another body, and that body is the biggest problem, so yeah, so many body problem is no, the point is, that is the point. The many body problem is a more complex problem than a one body problem, so therefore, many body research is very troublesome research, or because you don't understand, there are so many concomitant factors, there are so many complexities, so many body research is mess, is it not? Like that. So this experience the living entity gets only when he gets this sanctioned sample testing. So then sincere grahastha, man, woman, both, they will be forced to accept that, Are Baba, let dump this bodily conception, and let us, so one gets a full hand experience, provided one is following the Shastras, provided one is sincere. The sincere grahastha will get this realization, that to get out of the bodily conception, because he understands there is no infatuation, and once you have done sample testing, No need to test another fellow. That means you're bogus, You don't have brain substance, Is it not? That's the point. So Shastra is telling, अभी क्या है वो समझदार को क्या इशारा काफी होता है, is it not? One experience is enough to understand. अभी वो सैंपल से एक उठा लिया, समझ में आ जाता है पूरा क्या है, is it not? But the materially mad people, what they do, they test one, nahi ho raha hai, misery, they test another one, and they test another one. There is no gray matter. They have never installed any spiritual gray matter in their heads. They have not installed any spiritual gray matter. So they feel that, okay, a different permutation combination, a different geometry, a different morphological feature, a different, a different, morphological orientation is going to be, more attractive. And it's their foolishness. So you got the point, no? So that's why the man-woman coming together in marriage is allowed once, like that. That is allowed once, okay, some mishap happens is another story, but now it's allowed for once, so that one can get rid of that infatuation, is it not? Then you follow the dharma and together do some service, is it not? That's the point. Together do some service, but one has to be careful. If one doesn't follow the injunctions, one can degrade very badly also, is it not? So that problem is there everywhere, even for a brahmachari also. If it doesn't follow, he will go more sinful, is it not? So that trap is there for everyone, because yes, yes. So the main problem is the very strong infatuation, of man for woman, woman for man. To sort it right, one is given this this way by which both of them can cure the disease of their heads and understand that there is nothing in the body and we are not these bodies, and these bodies are actually encagements and entanglements, like that. So otherwise, materially speaking, what is the general thumb rule? Materially speaking, they say, okay, the man becomes the husband of the man will become a woman, but the woman will not become man. So because to become a man in the next life, you require punya karma, So the woman who is not following punya karma, she will not become a man. She may also, and the man will become a woman, This is what is going to happen in the next life. Yeah, So they both fellows will become women, or they might further degrade also, like that. So the point is the spiritual fabric has to be important. But the fundamental principles remain the same. The fundamental principles remain the same. Yeah. Yeah. So that's very true. Yeah. 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 So they were just telling people came near and they made each other dear, but nothing works out, Is it not? So and then Krishna will say, "Now, okay, surrender to me, do not fear." So that is yes, independent of Krishna, there is no